Okay, this is just going to be a general update on everything. Some of the stuff in this video won't be released until October or beyond, and it's currently the end of July. As you can see, 3 push mowers in front of you. All 3 of these run. All 3 of these are just about ready to go, and they all pretty much have separate videos on them. This one right here did an engine. This one right here basically took all the good parts from the bad engine on that one, put them on this one. This one here is the Lawn Boy Fire Mower, new carburetor, new air box. Even though this did run, it needed some new parts. Unfortunately, some of the parts that were on it were incorrect. There was one other video that needs to be made for this. I had it made, but it got deleted, unfortunately. So all of these have their own video pretty much in a whole series of their own. I'm going to try and do this all in one take. I don't really want to pause the camera, because if I pause the camera, I'm trying to hide something, and I don't want to hide anything. This here is scrap. It came in on a trade deal, kind of a, not a good trade deal, not a bad trade deal, but this is scrap. Got some parts sitting here, all parts that can get wet. It's just stuff that's just sitting around waiting to be put on, and it's nothing really overly important. We get to the nitty gritty in a second. As you can see, scrap trailer is full, but scrap is currently low. Not overly worth it to bring shred in at the moment. We'll start over here. Mower deck ready for an engine. I have an engine for this, a Honda. This was going to be pretty much all its own series as well. This will be done very, very soon, probably in the next few days. Right now I'm just trying to get push mowers done, and then I'm moving back on to riders. Kubota. This is a total hoopty Kubota. It drove to where it's sitting, but now it will not start. It's a Kohler Kubota. I did a trade plus cash. This came with that snowblower. I put the battery in. It had a four-wheeler battery in it when I got it. It was actually still good, so it went in my four-wheeler. So the starter's acting up on it, and the guy, whenever he asked to do the trade, said the starter was kind of acting up, but when he dropped it off, I was able to get it to run. This is, as you can see, this is one of these starters that has the built-in solenoid. So if I do change it, I have to add a solenoid and a couple wires. Nothing overly major, but it does need electrical work. Has household clips on some of the wires holding them together. The backfire prevention solenoid was actually wired straight to the battery, and the way they were shutting this off was disconnecting the backfire prevention solenoid. So yeah, that's no bueno. And that's actually the wire right there that they had running from the positive on the battery to the solenoid. The seat's trash. All 4 hoops and casings are actually decent on this. The deck does run. It needs a belt. This would make a decent bush machine, really. But other than that, it's trash. There's no hour meter, so I have no idea how many hours it actually has on it, unfortunately. It was either really, really abused, or it has a huge ton of hours. Also, it needs a front bushing in the steering. The steering does a walk. As you can see, the arm's moving. So really, this has just been sat here. I'm not doing anything with it at the moment. And when I get time to look into it, I'll look into it. I did try and start it yesterday, but I couldn't get a good enough connection. We'll have to do some electrical work before I do try and start this. Let's go in here. Racing mower is still sitting there. Nothing's really happening to it. We had a bit of a heat wave. Nothing major. No, I don't know where this global warming BS is coming from. It wasn't nothing major, and it only didn't last for too long. And today we're getting nothing but rain. So it's still sitting there waiting for technically a rainy day, but not today. That's, I'm trying to do this all in one take. In here, nothing has really changed. I've added a pressure washer. It's pretty well junk. It came in that same trade deal as well. I do have an engine for it. If I was to try and repower it, that is a potential and a possibility. So it's something I might look into. The old workhorse Allis-Chalmers still doing its job. Still no issues with it. And the four-wheeler is still pulled apart. I believe I showed a video on this that will be coming up, or I still have to schedule it. Runs, drives. I had a four-wheel drive issue. I did kind of overheat it a little bit, but no damage was caused. It's not dumping coolant into the oil, and vice versa. If I had the key, it would start, and I'd have to connect the battery. Because like I said, I'm working on putting another battery in it that came out of that Kubota mower. But it's doing okay. It's doing its job. It's still sitting in here. I did sell something else, which we'll mention later on in the video. So some of the profits from that, I'm going to buy some parts for this. This needs a starter and probably a Bendix. And it's pretty good. I gotta figure out something with the four-wheel drive, since the four-wheel drive blows the fuse, so I might put it on a toggle or just put a better quality fuse in there. It's currently using a glass style fuse, which I hate those. I rather have an automotive style fuse on it as well. Also, this here actually needs the fuse replaced in it as well. I went to go cut a lady's lawn, and it started, then it died, it lost all power. It was just running off the stator, and then it wouldn't restart. So I figured out what the issue was. I still went to go cut her lawn. I bypassed the main fuse, but the main fuse does need to be replaced on the Allis-Chalmers. Close this up so I don't forget, and let's look at some tractors. Okay, Scott's. It's waiting on an engine. I have an engine for it. Just waiting on time to get it pulled into the garage, get the Kawasaki yanked out. I would like to try and start this Kawasaki. I was able to get it to kind of sputter and spit, but I think the carburetor in this is so gummed up, it's just not letting anything through. So I do have a plan for this Kawasaki if I can get it to run. Some of the wiring has been ripped apart on it, and just looking through, seeing what it needs and what it does not need to make it run, and what I need to work on whenever I do go and put a new engine in it. I believe I have a gas tank for it, so we should be good on that. This one's cracked, and this is currently using a push button start. That will be going away. If I put this back together, everything's going to be controlled by the key. Unfortunately, no deck. The deck was completely rotted out on this, and they are on titanium. It does have a battery sitting in it, and that battery is actually decent. Actually not most of these. A couple of these up here have batteries in them as well. The White Outdoors, if I can find a transaxle for this, I'd like to fix it. I was considering swapping this over to a VariDrive. It's doable, but I have to have a VariDrive machine of this style to be able to convert this over to VariDrive. I've never heard this engine run. This engine will not crank. I believe the starter is jammed up on it. So that's another thing that would need to be looked into before trying to actually get this machine to run. But I would like to try and save this machine. You don't see these many around anymore. A lot of them just rotted away. This one's still halfway decent, but if I cannot fix the transaxle, it will go for scrap. Typical issue with this, the end of the axle seized up, and I was trying to get the back casing off, and I snapped the clip on the axle. Being a hydrostatic, I might be able to take it apart, might not be able to take it apart and replace that clip. I don't know as of yet, and how the differential and the pump is all put together on this machine. So this one is a maybe. It's just sitting here. It was towed over here with the four-wheeler, and it's just waiting on me to have some time to pull that transaxle apart, pull the hood off, get the engine running, and go on with that. Also, one other thing I should have did a video on is that before and after I did hit this with the pressure washer. It actually cleaned up halfway decent, and I should definitely did a video, but I forgot. Not a big deal. Murray wide body, it will run. Actually, it should crank. Battery sounding a little on the weak side. This here needs a gas tank, which it's unattainable, unfortunately. I've been looking on eBay quite a bit trying to find a gas tank for this. I cannot find one. I have a deck for it. The original deck that came on it I still have it, is junk. It's all seized up and it's rotted out. Very similar to the one from the Scots. These machines were actually sitting pretty much side by side at the place where I got them from. This one we did the engine on. I believe that video has been released of changing out the engine in this. It did drive to where it's sitting. I had a temporary tank on it. The temporary tank has since been removed. I had needed it for another machine. And here it sits. If I can't find a gas tank for it, I do have other options in my arsenal to get this machine up and running. All it really needs to go is the carburetor needs a little bit of attention. Probably some seafoam will fix that. I gotta put a deck on it. I should obviously pressure wash it as well. But overall, this machine's not that bad. It's savable. Also, this rear hoop casing needs to be put back on as well. It's the one for the right here. So this one here is not correct. The one on the left is correct. Also, it should get some of the pulleys sprayed down. They do work. There's no real noise, but the hydro release does stick on this, so that's one other thing that should be looked into if I end up fixing it. But it's most likely this one will be fixed. It's just if I can find, hopefully I can find a gas tank, or I'll have to adapt one. The Roper and Yard Pro, nothing's happened with these two at the moment. Basically, we got them home. I put power to them to see what would happen. The Yard Pro starter does spin, but won't spin the engine. The engine is not stuck in either of these. It's just spinning without the Bendix. So most likely either the gear's missing, like it broke off, or there's something else going on in there that needs attention. So this one here is probably just going to be a yard tractor. I do have the deck for it. The deck is actually right there, but it's not in the greatest of condition, so it's probably not worth fixing. The Roper, I know people hate me for scrapping Ropers, and I don't really want to scrap it. So it's not bad, but it's not good. It's a 4-speed Roper. It's one of the most popular Ropers ever built. The ones that you want are the high-lows, and that's definitely not what that one is. This is an LT, not a GT. So it's a cheap bottom barrel Roper. It's not worth much. If I can try and get it running, yes, we're good, but definitely wouldn't want to put much into that machine. All 4 hoops casings all are good, and they're actually, on both of these, are actually both holding air, surprisingly. I pumped them up well over a month ago. They weren't even flat, they were just low. So these two here, they still have potential. The Yard Pro more than the Roper, but they're just sitting here waiting on their turn, basically. But like I said at the beginning of the video, I've been working on just push mowers. Here is my second Murray. It actually did drive to this location as well. I got this one for free from my neighbor. The engine's good. So this is a candidate engine for a bunch of different things. I'm going to be doing a facelift on the engine though. The parts I had sitting on my table also near the beginning of the video. This one would probably start. This one is push button start. Wasn't planning on doing cold starts in this video. Nah, it doesn't want to go. This one here, again, it hasn't ran in quite some time. Obviously, that's not the hood for it. The hood for it actually went on a machine that is now gone. I've sold 3 machines out of the tractor haul. One other machine that was saved from the tractor haul by Toro. So I'm doing okay. But like I said, I'm trying to get push mowers done at the moment. Last but not least, let's go in the tent shed, the second tent shed. Okay, in here, my engine test stand. Yes, I built it. Videos will be coming out on this very soon. This engine here came from auction. It's an 11 horse. This is the engine that's actually going in the Scots. I have released a few videos on this engine, but I'm not sure where I'm fully at the moment on this. So here it is. It will run. It just needs a little bit more dialing in. I had some issues with the throttle body, but everything is all good on it. A few hiccups on this, like where the fuel tank is, but that's pretty much it. It does what it needs to do, and it's up here now. I sold a four-wheeler, 125cc, one I picked up from auction. Videos will be released on that as well. I believe I did an initial view video of it. It was all done. I actually sold it to my neighbor, and I made out really, really good on that. So the profits from that, that's what's going back into helping to fund my big four-wheeler, try and get it back up and running. And this here Honda push mower, this is the one that is going on to that black deck I'm putting together. This one here is rotted pretty bad at the back here, and there's a few spots at the front. It needs all new wheels. The drive cable's bad on it. Overall, it's just not worth fixing, but that engine runs really, really good. Has clean oil, brand new air filter, brand new spark plug. It just sat for a little while, but I put fuel in it. It fired up on the second pull. This does use a choke, and these are actually fairly decent machines. I did try and sell it at one time. I figured, okay, if someone has a blown engine, it'd be a perfect swap in, but I couldn't get near to what I figured it was worth, so I'm fixing it. And this here is a push mower I picked up on Trade Plus Cash for one of my brand new push mowers I had from auction as well. The same deal where the four-wheeler came from. This one, I'm going to actually do a quick upgrade to it. It needs a dipstick, so I'm going to be doing that possibly today. While I'm up here, I might bring it down with me. And it has a crack in the fuel tank, so that needs to be fixed as well. And this is actually ready to go. Originally, I wasn't going to fix this. I was going to use this for parts, but I was able to get it up and running fairly decently, and it is actually ready to go now. Everything else in here, nothing has changed. That engine there is for that air compressor cart, if I ever put that together. That's a Kohler. Down there is another Kohler, and the engine that's possibly going on that pressure washer, if that pressure washer head's any good. But the engine that's on it sees, so really the only way to test it is to put an engine on it, get it running, and go for it. So I can't believe this video is already 16 minutes long, but that's pretty well it for everything that's important and that I've been working on. See, videos are taking a little bit longer to produce because I'm trying to get everything done and produce them in like a bit of a series, but they are working out fairly decently, and I'm trying to get more videos done of what I'm actually working on. So this video, like I said, will be released today, and that's pretty much it. Actually, it'll probably be released for Sunday, July, I believe, would be 30th. So that's pretty much it. So I'll talk to them there. Please keep it redneck like always, and please subscribe and comment.